Hello everybody, welcome to my latest live video. In this live video, we're going to be talking about vintage Pyrex that sells on eBay. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to get Tim and Josie to show me all their Pyrex they have. And after that, I'll bring up eBay and we'll look at all the listings of glass on eBay, and then we'll do sold listings. So welcome again everybody to my latest live video. It'll be good to see you all. And with me today is Tim and Josie from over the years. Hi guys.
Hi.
How you doing?
So, Tim and Josie, would you like to explain to everybody about your channel and how you got started?
Sure. So, my name is Tim. This is my beautiful girlfriend, Josephine, also known as Josie. So, I started out as a part-time seller about 2 years ago. On Etsy was my primary platform that I sold on. And so I started out just by kind of selling things that belonged to my mom that she was trying to get rid of. And then that kind of just steamrolled into this ginormous addiction to finding and learning about vintage and antique items. So everything from glass to china to different metals, silver, brass, copper. So a little bit of everything. It's become like super it's a passion now, so which is exciting because being able to do something that you really enjoy and turn that into making it a living is it's something that not a lot of people have the opportunity to do. So I'm very grateful for that. So I was only part-time until January 31st was my last day of work of having a regular job. So I finally took the dive and jumped into doing things full time. And so now we're selling on 6 different platforms. So we've kind of come a long way from just selling 1 or 2 items a month on Etsy to 6 different platforms. So it's been pretty crazy. But before I say anything else, I wanted to say how much we really appreciate you, because for mostly everybody in the chat knows David is probably one of the nicest guys on all of YouTube. He's always around. He's always showing love and support. And for me, I wanted to make sure I said that before we did anything else, because we really, really do appreciate everything that you do. You're absolutely amazing. You show so much support to so many different channels, and we can't thank you enough for that. So we wanted to make sure everybody knew, if they didn't know, but I'm sure everybody already knows.
I appreciate it.
Everybody already knows how awesome you are.
No, thank you very much.
Make sure you knew.
Thank you very much. No, really appreciate it. Yes, no, I like supporting my friends and always will do. And you have my word on that. I always promise you that I'll always be there for you as well, no matter what. And I just like helping friends, good people out. And that's the way I'm always going to be. And I really appreciate you all being here. And thank you very much, Tim and Josie, for saying that. I really do appreciate it. So, right, Tim and Josie, so what's your latest haul then? You've got glass behind you then?
So we brought a couple of pieces of stuff that is, some of our favorite pieces from the latest haul. So it's funny because before we went live, right, we were talking, and you were talking about how you went to the auction for the first time, your story about when you went to the auction for the first time. So I just went to an auction an auction as a reseller first time. My parents used to take me to auctions all the time when I was a kid, right? But we just went to one. We made a video about it, and it was like you said, you walk in, I didn't know anything about how much I was going to have to pay on percentage and anything like that. So it was definitely an interesting experience. But once I got in my groove, I started feeling okay, and I was like, all right.
I also recall you coming back to the house and explaining to me how intimidating it was for you to be in a room full of individuals that have done this for years. And you looked like you just came out of, I don't know.
Well, I called her too, because at the same time I was going into the auction, Josie was having a meeting with getting a promotion at her job. So she's calling me telling me what's going on. And with Josie gets you know, she gets a little intense at times.
Okay.
So then at the time I'm talking to Josie, I'm like, Josie, like, I don't know what I got myself into. Like, this is not like what I expected. But all that being said, we did end up doing really well. Ma Dukes was with me at the auction, which was a huge help.
Yes.
Because if I'd have went there by myself, I don't know what would have happened.
And she has tons of experience. I mean,
Yeah.
she did it for years.
So the most of the stuff we got from the auction was what is referred to as carnival glass. So I got, how many pieces of the carnival glass you think we got at that auction, Ma?
5 or 6.
No, total it was probably got about like
Probably 10.
yeah, probably about 10 to 15 pieces of carnival glass.
Right.
And I got it all. Josie washed it, and then I took pictures of it, and then spent a whole night listing it. And it was not easy because I listed it on Etsy and I listed it on eBay. But this was I just sold my first piece of the items that I got from the auction. And I packed it and shipped it already this morning. But this is the jewel of the haul that we got.
Oh wow, look at that inside of that.
Yeah, so we've shown this a couple of times, but like this is just it's such an exquisite piece because a lot of times you'll see them in very, you know, not, I hate to say the word basic, but you know, more colors that are obtainable. And this is a really unique colorway because
it's not just orange.
it's considered aqua opal. So as you can see, it's kind of got this like opalescent here. That's like a blue, and then the bottom of it is also blue. So it's an aqua opal is the name of the color. But look at inside, you can really see like the very detailed inside there.
So it's like a gold leaf, like coating on it, gold leaf type of.
No, it's all glass, but it's
Cool.
just the way that the technique in which they create the glass gives it like that iridescent look. And so this piece right here is actually made by a company called Northwood Glass. They make a lot of different. Harry says he sees a hairline crack.
Where
you see a hairline crack, buddy? No, that's not a hairline crack. That's the
those are the leaves.
no, it's the seam from the handles. So that's what those are. But yeah, this actually has a chip, very small chip right here on the bottom. And the thing is like if this would have been in perfect condition, I probably would have listed this piece for somewhere between $300 and $400, and I got it for $5, or it was a little bit less than $5 because I lotted it up. So I paid almost like $1.75. Oh, Harry, you scared me for a second, buddy. But yeah, so with the chip, I went ahead and listed it for $200.
Oh my goodness, Brent. Right.
Yeah. So that would be once it, you know, obviously I would, when you get something at a certain price, you know, like you also, I've learned that, you know, sometimes you can hurt yourself by holding on to things for too long, you know, just like I don't want to be super stingy with it and be like, you know, I got to get $200 for it. I got to get $200 for it because I did get it at such a good price. So it's like, you know, a lot of like, I remember watching Zahir a couple of months back, and you know he was big on the turn and burn, you know, and like I totally that kind of put me in like a different mindset because I was so used to like really just being like I'm gonna get top dollar for this because like for me, like I understand that, you know, pieces like the things that I sell, they don't make them anymore, you know, like you're talking about things that were made like, you know, handmade, a lot of the blown glass stuff, you know, like by people that worked in the company for years, and their family lived in these small towns where these companies were making glass. And like, it's just, you know, like you have this certain level of appreciation for it. But at the same time, it's like, I want to be able to, you know, I need to be able to make money, obviously, you know, and then it's like, you know, sometimes you sell it for what you can get for it. There's some pieces though that, you know, I'm determined. Like I'm like, okay, like I'm not gonna like give in on people just because one of the biggest things I learned in reselling was they told me that something is only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it.
Yes, that's very true. Mhm.
And so like I keep that in my mind all the time, and it's pretty awesome. So listen, I told Tom, because sometimes I talk a little
It's Tim Twang.
I talk a little urban sometimes, but I was telling Tommy and him the other night, I was like, like I'm actually a really intelligent guy, I'm very well spoken when I need to be.
He's just lazy.
But sometimes but yeah, so every once in a while I drop a SAT word on people. So I did that with exquisite. So yeah, so that was one of the pieces that was the probably the most like highest dollar value piece that we got. And Carnival Glass is something that is really picking up steam again, and it comes and goes in waves. I noticed the pickup in steam probably it was last season, flea market season. It was the first flea market that we set up as a business, and so like I decided that I wasn't just going to sell online, that I was going to really try and take advantage of things that I've learned as far as marketing and branding and being able to like sell at the markets too. So we got a tent. Josie designed the big banner for the tent. So it's an orange top tent, right? And we got the black banner. It says over the years. It's got all of our Instagram and Facebook and
email,
on all that
handles.
stuff.
Yeah,
all on the banner. And then we set up like big time. And
it's not like a small ordeal. We're talking about us packing up the night before, and it's usually roughly around 20 different boxes filled with at least 8, no, more than that, like 20 different pieces.
So we're talking about like between glass and China, you're talking about like 200 plus pieces.
Right. And so you have to actually wrap it in newspaper and bubble wrap, place it in the box, load the boxes individually inside of the van. Then once you get to your location, you take out the box.
It's not as easy as it looks.
Oh my gosh, it is so time consuming.
It's a lot of work, and you got to get up. You got to get. I mean, you understand? It's the same sort of situation with the car. Yeah, so you got to get up super early. You got to get that done. And
if anyone hasn't seen the Georgetown Flea Market video we had, it was one of our first videos. Please go back and watch it. Watch it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. I there's a clip in one of where you see us loading up the van, and so like we ran a U-Haul van, and like the back doors open up, and there's like a hinge at the top of the door. And I'm like bringing a box in, and I go head first, not even thinking about it. Go boom, I can bump right into it, and then fall back like, oh, it's a funny clip. But yeah, so at that first market, we realized that we had sold a bunch of Carnival Glass, and I was like, man, this is really interesting. So I always try and pay attention to what people like, especially when you're at the flea market. Like what pieces get picked up the most during the day.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, okay, so next time at the market, I know to put those pieces in certain places, because that's what people I was explaining this the other night, people always look left to right. So like take the pieces that and we separate everything by categories and colors. So it's like all color coordinated, and then we have like all of our teapots in one place, teacups and saucers, sugars and creamers, and then we do the glasses all by colors: green, yellow, amber, red, blue, and then Carnival
and crystal,
and then clear crystal stuff if we have any of that. So yeah, so that has been very interesting to watch the wave of Carnival Glass take place. And it's just like anything else, it's up and down, but that has been one of the, it's besides the uranium glass and the Pyrex, Carnival glass does really well for me. And if
Yeah, it's really hard to sell the uranium glass because, obviously it's during daylight.
Or
and so
at the flea market.
markets, and people can't see its full beauty and potential once you shine the black light onto it. But we have sometimes come across individuals who know, oh, that piece is definitely uranium. I definitely want that piece. And they try to negotiate, but we're pretty good about it. We sometimes give a 20% off discount. But
at the flea market.
Yeah.
But yeah, so uranium glass is probably, Pyrex is obviously one of my biggest sellers. We just did that video recently on how to clean Pyrex. And the funny thing, not necessarily funny, but a lot of those pieces I bought just for the video so that I could show people how, if you see a Pyrex pattern that's interesting, Kelly. Yeah, we should do that. I mean, I have my flashlight with me to kind of show people because some of the pieces are so bright that even in the daylight, when you shine the light on it, you can still see it. Sure. But yeah, that Pyrex video, I've already sold 3 pieces that I got just to make the video. Have already been sold. So Pyrex is, and that's the thing with Pyrex. It's you're not always gonna find it, you're kind of capped as far as the price point of what you're gonna get. There's unicorn and holy grail patterns that you're gonna get a lot of money for, but they're super hard to find, especially find them in sellable condition, which is important. But I will say that it's one of those things where if you can find them at the right prices, there's such a sea of people out there that collect it, and that it's easy to move most of the time, And if you can get something for 50 cents, $1, $2, and you can sell it for $10, $15, $25, $30, there's nothing wrong with that. And in my opinion, that was one of the things that really took our Etsy store to the next level. So we did, it was May or March of last year, and all of a sudden I was selling
left and right,
literally 15 pieces of Pyrex a day. And I was like, what is going on?
And at one point we didn't have any Pyrex left on our website.
It literally sold out of almost over 100 pieces of Pyrex in a week. Yeah, it was a week. 4 days. And so I didn't understand it. So then I was like, all right, I gotta go find Pyrex. So I spent weeks just hunting for Pyrex. And
but then it also took some time because we kept questioning, why are we selling so much Pyrex at such a high volume? And how long did it take before you came across the article?
So about 6 months later, I was in the Sprint cell phone store, and I was let me answer this question really fast. Carnival glass expensive when it was new, or was it? So a little bit of both. Depending upon the years, obviously the older stuff, was coming out in times where, glass was not looked at that way, but it's increased in value over time. There's some stories about it where they called it Carnival glass because it was given away as prizes at carnivals, which, that's what some people say. So yeah, it wasn't necessarily always expensive, but some of the newer stuff came out was expensive. And the funny thing is now it's not worth, as much as it was when they were originally selling it, especially the modern stuff, the stuff that was made in 70s, 80s and stuff, 90s and even. So, but yeah, so about 6 months after the Pyrex sold out at that time, I was in a Sprint cell phone store and I was just killing time, and I was Googling over the years, and I Googled it, and an article came up from Bon Appetit magazine. And what happened is Bon Appetit magazine named our Etsy store one of the best places to buy Pyrex. So that's why my store started generating all that buzz. And so from that point on, I kind of made it a point to always have Pyrex in inventory. So if I can get it, at a good price, I'm going to buy it. As long as it's in good condition, I'll buy it mostly all the time. just because it's good to have that sort of inventory because people are always buying it.
We see
So
that's it, especially at a time like this. A lot of people are stuck at home. There's going to be more activity on the internet. So yeah, I definitely agree with you there. If you've got anything else, then you want to show Josie any other class?
okay, so
For
we'll
nice
show
pieces.
you.
Let's show this one.
Sorry, so Josie's
I'm
gonna
gonna go
get the light.
That's
All right.
okay.
I'll give you the signal when. Okay. All right, so this is a very unique piece. All right, this is Murano glass, so it's Italian. Now, most people to the naked eye would not think that this piece glows because it is red. Now, at the bottom, you can kind of see there's a little bit of a green hue to it right here. And so I saw this and I knew immediately. We got this at the thrift store, my mom and I, after the auction. So this is, let me show you guys. All right, you ready? So this is what it looks like in the light. Now, Josie, hit the lights.
Oh wow, yeah, it's like a volcanic type of color at the bottom.
Yeah, so now you can see it actually glows the whole thing. It's pretty.
It's really nice.
Yeah. So that's red glass to green, which is
Red to
like
green. See that?
insane. So yeah, this is a really valuable piece. I think it's listed right now for like $149. All right, and I'll show you another one. Just so you want to get the light. All right. So in the regular light, this is what you call. This is a more generic depression glass piece. Now this one's a little bit different because it does have like this silver, turned it into like a caddy, basically carrying caddy. And this is, sometimes you'll find these with real silver. This is obviously not real silver, but it still adds a little bit of unique touch to it. So you'll see this is going to be like your typical green depression glass style. And then when the light's off, Josie, this is what it looks like.
Oh, I agree. Like green.
Yeah, nice green color right there. You can see that. It's really, really cool stuff. Now, all right, like Jesse, this is another piece. So I'll go into these pieces after, but I just want to show you guys how they glow all at once. So this is a custard glass, and this is made by Fenton. And so this is, another different style of glass that will glow. So this is what it looks like in regular light. And then Josie. And as you can see, it glows nice and green.
See that? Mm-hmm. That's really nice.
It's pretty gorgeous.
How much time have you got invested in that then?
What's that?
How much money have you got into that piece then?
This piece right here, I got that for $7. I haven't even listed it yet. And then this one right here. So this is jadeite, is what you call this. Now this is old jadeite, which is what makes it glow. And this is what it looks like regular. All right, light, Josie. And you can see.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's like
the color green again.
Super green.
Mm-hmm.
So now what a piece looks like if you're going and you get the black light, right? And you want to see, something. Just this is obviously blue, but like if you want to see if something glows, turn the light off really quick. So this, if you put it on regular glass, this is how the black light will look. It just will look like purple.
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
So
Very
like
nice.
that's just regular glass. But if you want to see if something glows, you'll see it. It's like this.
Green
Now
color.
I feel like I'm holding a piece of kryptonite right now. All right, you can turn the light on. So
Some really nice pieces, sir. Tim, you've done well.
yeah, so those are the kind of things. No, Josie wasn't on the phone. That was my mom that came down. She had something to say.
She's watching it from another room and
Oh, is she?
giving us feedback while we're live.
It's funny. She's a wild one. So yeah, so a piece like this, Fenton glass, which was made here in America. This is just going to be a custard satin. Now, not all custard glass will glow, but this one definitely does, as you guys saw. And this one's really pretty because it's got the hand painted flowers on there. And the older Fenton won't necessarily have a marking. The new Fenton will say Fenton on the bottom. This one does not say Fenton, but it will say hand painted. I don't know if you got, there it goes.
See that? Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll say hand painted. And I believe this is I want to say it's roses. Roses on satin custard is the name of the pattern. So yeah, I got that for $7. Depending upon the buyer, I could probably get between $20 and $40 for that basket.
And Tim, what do you find at the minute's the best platform for selling glass on? Do you find it's a mixture of both Etsy and eBay, or is there just one platform does well?
So that's the thing. It's like I said previously, I started out on Etsy, and because I was a little intimidated by eBay, and then I just thought Etsy gave me the best opportunity because the market was not as saturated and as flooded as eBay was.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I started expanding and, selling other things besides antiques and vintage items, I started selling on eBay. So, electronics and clothes and things like that. So then I kind of was like, okay, let me try and see what I can sell on eBay, right? As far as from my Etsy store. And I noticed that a lot of the mid-range to low-range pieces I kind of still experimenting, but I didn't necessarily want to throw those on there because I thought people were paying less money for them on eBay than I could get for it on Etsy. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what I started out originally doing was selling, cross-posting my higher end pieces onto eBay from Etsy. And I've had some pretty good success so far. So I sold my glass piece. I sold the jadeite, which is this color right here. It was a decanter in the same sort of color, and it glowed also. Mm-hmm. And I sold that for, I think, what was it? I get 400 for that, 350, something like that. And like it was on Etsy, same amount of time that it was on eBay. And on eBay, it just got so many likes and watches, and it was just like I was getting all types of offers all over the place. And like I just kind of waited that one out, and eventually I took an offer, I think of like 350. Was it 350 or 390? But yeah, that was a huge sale for me. And that right there kind of like, all right, because if you're on eBay with an item that there's not a lot of them out there, obviously you can spend a little bit less as far as like a promoted listing. And also like if you do promote, you're going to stand out like amongst all the rest. And it's just, there's not a million of them for people to choose from, so it was very, it was very interesting for me to kind of like test the waters a little bit. Mm-hmm. So lately I've been doing really well with the uranium glass, especially so I went on this pick, like a dig, it was this guy, he was a hoarder, mad scientist light fixture guy. Like he sold antique light fixtures, but he was like, he would take everything apart and like, just every light fixture. Like, I mean, there must have been over $1 million worth of lighting, from all different eras. Wow. Things from the 1800s all the way up until, the 90s. But like, it was insane, like to dig through, like, it was like, it wasn't like organized. It was like 20-foot ceilings of just like glass and like brass and just plugs and lights. And like, so anyways, I dug through that warehouse like for 3 days. And I'm eventually, I made 3 different purchases, and like after the first purchase, they kind of like worked with me more on the next 2. But right. I came away with a lot of Art Deco uranium glass and Vaseline glass lighting fixtures and lamps, and they have been selling really well on eBay. I mean, I sold one shade. It was like a ceiling shade. very Art Deco-y, and it was the glass maker was Macbeth Evans. I forget, because a lot of times, back in the day, the glass companies would make a mold or a piece of glass, and then they would give that to another company, and then that company would add either a design to it or sell it with a part of another light fixture, and they would sell it. So it was very Art Deco-y, and I sold that for, what was that, 200, 250, somewhere around there. And I paid like $15 for it.
Oh my goodness, wow.
So
Yeah.
it was like a great come up, and I got 2 Art Deco lamps, and they were like cast iron base, and then it had a jadeite middle piece, and then a jadeite ball, and then another jadeite piece, and it actually worked. Still worked, original lighting, like plug and everything. So it's always awesome when they still work, obviously.
But there
You know
have
what?
been
Yeah.
actually where we'll see a lamp of that sort, and so it's really disappointing when you see that it's cracked or there's a piece missing, and it's so hard to do your research and try to find the same lamp as it's supposed to be seen back in the day. And we've come across pieces that were refurbished, and they weren't entirely original, and so it's really hard.
And at that point you kind of just have to make up your own comp on the piece. You remember that time Josie and I went on an antique trip to Delaware and Maryland to go to the beach, and we saw one of those lamps, and it was in an antique mall, and the person had, it was like, what was it, like 30-40% off?
Yeah.
So either 30 or 40% off, and it was like,
but it would have cost us like $150, no, $100.
No, it was way less than
Are
that.
you sure?
Yeah, because we were all stoked to buy it.
So was it original? Like, were they selling it for $100 and then it was 50%?
Josie was like going crazy, her allergies that day.
Oh my god!
We were in an antique mall, and she couldn't stop blowing her nose, and so like we were this close to buying it, and like we plugged it in, it worked, and like we're looking up and down, and eventually like we found it. It was a big chip in it, and it was just like, I still almost bought it. Like
I was like, no. I'm like, we can't do it.
Because I was like, it was such a good price for a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
But we couldn't pull the trigger. That's a good thing too. Josie is always around to like,
it's just, you get really excited. He's so passionate, and I totally understand. But like, I try to remain my head leveled so that I can make the executive decision. No, yes, and decide whether it's worth it, because a lot of these pieces, obviously, because they're antiques, you want to hold on to it because it's a value. However, if its state is not worth reselling, I just don't touch it.
Yeah.
But this is the other thing though. Don't think that she don't be we go to the antique mall and Josie will find a nice purse, or we'll go to an antique show. Josie will find a nice purse. I'm like, all right, how much we going to resell? How are we going to resell that? How much? And she's like, oh no, this isn't for resale. This is for me.
Really?
We're out here supposed to be sourcing. Josie's sourcing for her closet.
It's hard because, okay, when you go to these antique malls and they have handbags of that sort, I'm very passionate about fashion, so I come across a Hermes bag or a Lucite bag, and I'm like, it goes well with this outfit that I have in my closet. These are all status bags from like the 1950s and 1930s, and it's really hard to try to resell it when it's something that you love. So that's just how it is.
Yeah, it's definitely very interesting. But yeah, so the uranium glass on eBay has been doing really well. Yeah. And then obviously, everybody knows I do the glass, but I do also do a lot of older, China and antique stuff like that. And we just sold a Limoges bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My yeah, I did. And the bag was actually around $800, and that was on sale for 20% off. I did not walk away with the bag.
No, we didn't. But yeah, so that Limoges piece that we just sold, we were at an estate sale. If you saw our live recently, we told the story. We were at a estate sale, and Josie picked it up because this was like early on in our reselling days.
And I was like, Limoges.
That's all she needed to see.
That's all I had to see. And I was like, we're getting this.
So we got it for 10 bucks. Yeah,
10 bucks. Yeah.
And it sat here in this basement
Forever.
for like a year, just collecting
Wow.
dust. Because like at first, like, I have all these. I've been, amassing, collecting all these books to like, learn knowledge. Because a lot of times, the internet is like,
it's not the best archiving.
It's like
resource.
telephone game.
Yeah.
Like if one person posts something for sale and they call it something, and somebody else sees it and then they want to sell it, then they call it that. So then you have half of the internet calling it one thing and the other half of the internet calling it something else. So like the books are really good for like identification, or verification also. Like if you just need to verify that something is that pattern, especially in the world of reproductions and fakes and remakes and stuff like that, especially with glass, because with glass people pass molds around all the time. Oh, I have a great, so like this is you see this pattern right here.
Mhm.
This is like late 1800s, early 1900s. This is Vaseline opalescent glass, and it has, you can see the pattern right here. And then we have this one, which is obviously two different sizes, and then this has the same pattern right here. But like this is, another glass company acquired the molds from this glass company and then remade them into smaller pieces. I'm pretty sure that this is, a newer, made within like, the last 30, 40 years, where this one is like, over 100 years old.
Oh wow!
But
Yeah.
it's super interesting how molds get passed around in the glass world. Oh.
There's a question there from South London Reseller.
So I Scott, the Old Curiosity Shop, was one of. So when I first started watching YouTube, obviously I didn't know that there was when I first started selling, I didn't know that there was a world.
A reselling
community.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was like, I didn't even know the term was reseller. I just thought I was, hustling,
Literally.
I just took, my street knowledge and turned it to antiques. That's all I knew. So I came across Scott's Old Curiosity Shop, real nifty vintage. And those were like the first two like channels I watched. And then I came across, my mind was blown. Like after watching a YouTube for, falling in the rabbit hole and like recommended
like the
videos.
rabbit hole was really, really like deep. Tim would wake up watching you. Tim would fall asleep watching you and listen to you in his sleep. And I was right next to him. I would wake up probably saying, hey, like, we should watch this show and, possibly stop watching it. But for him, there was no stop. It was continuous.
So like, that's the thing is like, I am like a sponge. So once I start learning something, like I just can't stop. Like I gotta learn more. I gotta learn more. I gotta keep going. So like those were like some of my first channels watching it, and it's interesting because like everybody kind of offers you a different view and a different aspect, right? And you might not always agree with them sometimes. Like, and at that stage, I was learning from them, but eventually, like I get to the point where it's like, all right, like. I know a lot now. Like, so it's like, you still watch because it's interesting and stuff like that. But, sometimes you got to learn other things. So then I watched Blue Bus Dave, who's a really interesting character too. And he just kind of, he gave me a different idea into primitive, antiques. So I kind of started getting into that a little bit, and then like vintage advertising and signs and like more like rustic and farmhouse and industrial. And I went through that whole phase, and I like, Jeffrey. Yeah. And then all those people who I mentioned them already. Okay. And then after that, I was like, I stumbled across, I guess who's the first? The first one, I think it was probably Cincinnati Picker was the first one. I thought it was Blue Bus. No, I already mentioned Blue
Okay.
Bass. So out of the antique realm, I think Cincinnati Picker was first, and then Lonnie, and then after that, I just kind of like started diving into smaller channels because you get all these recommendations. And then I came across I was watching a lot of Josh and them on the morning show, and then after that, one time I was watching their show and I got a recommendation for Tommy and Tracy.
Yeah.
So then I watched Tommy and Tracy and I was like, oh man, these two are so awesome. Like these two are like, I kind of felt more like, you came across as a little bit like, okay, they're like, reselling, but they're not, it's a little bit more to it. Like, like I feel like I'm talking to somebody that I could talk to, outside. And then after that, it was just like, I started getting put on to so many different people across the globe, different channels. And then like, we were talking about it before we went live. And it's just like, for me, that has been like the most amazing part. Like, of course, it's cool that I got subscribers now because before nobody was watching me. But like, the more important thing is like, I learned something new every single day. And like, I meet somebody new every single day. And I've got so many new friends, so many new channels and outlets. Like, it has just been amazing to like learn. So my
See,
mom's
that's
in
the
the
best thing.
chat.
Is this her here?
Kathleen Kelly. As you can tell, that's where we get our Irish side.
All right. Hi, Kathleen.
So my mom's family's name, because my mom's family's from Ireland, so originally is O'Kelly's.
Oh, right. Okay.
But when they came to America, they dropped the O and just became Kelly's. But
Kelly.
yeah, so like she's been back to there, but I haven't. We wanted to go at the end of this year to Ireland. That was our goal because I'm a big Notre Dame football fan, and Notre Dame is playing a football, like American football game in Ireland this year in the fall.
Well, they were supposed to. I don't know for sure if it's still happening.
But so like I was kind of trying to kill two birds with one stone, like visit Ireland and see a Notre Dame game. So, but yeah, it's been a wild ride through the land of YouTube, and we're always just like trying to learn and trying to meet new people. Like it's just there's so much of information out there. Like we're so fortunate. We're so fortunate. Like to think about it like this, like before this was all anybody had was a book, and it's like now you got the internet, and it's like, but at the same time, it's kind of funny because the book still holds up, So like I totally recommend if you guys ever see books on antiques, anything, glass, china, toys, anything, just grab it. Like it'll totally like make it worthwhile. Obviously, the prices are different, but like it's very important to kind of like gauge what pieces are best, especially with depression glass, because a lot of depression glass you can get for really cheap, right? And there's certain pieces in certain patterns that are just really hard to find and can really, there's collectors, that's what you got to remember. There's collectors. You can really, really, really bring some good money back if you find the right piece and the right size. Like it's just about learning and retaining information. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah, and I totally agree with what you said there. I think you having the books there behind, because there's so many fakes and reproductions, the book's going to tell you, what to look out for, and then you can just, learn more stuff from there. And yeah, definitely, it's definitely a great thing to have the books because there's so many knowledge you can gain from it. And look how far, like you've said, you should both come. It's been really good. And I go, you're into full-time reselling now. I'm sure you never expected that to happen, and it's just taken off, hasn't it?
I definitely did not expect that to happen, but I think I'm pretty good at it. I guess
you're doing a great job. No, you are. You're doing really good. You are. Honestly, you are. No,
as long as the bills get paid, that's the way I look at it. Is like you're doing good if the bills get paid, and you could put a little to the side to save.
And Matt Dukes has been a very good boss.
Oh yes. Yeah, let me tell you. So like, this is the thing. Is my mom is like an OG, So like, I remember in the beginning, like I would have to ask her. I'm like, "Ma, what is this?" Like, I don't even know what the dish is. Like, I remember, going to like a restaurant and there being like 17 forks and 13 knives. And I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all these forks and knives? So like, you know, they got dishes like great, like, you know, like I've never seen a gravy boat before, like with a plate attached to it, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, like this celery vase. Like, what? I didn't realize that people were putting celery in vases, you know, but like, so like I had to like ask my mom a lot in the beginning, but you know, she was very like, very, she knew a lot about certain things like Fenton glass. She knew a lot about Wedgwood, you know, so it was just like I kind of honed in on what I had available to me knowledge wise. And then, you know, you, like I said, you got to learn to evolve and adapt and adjust and apply. Like I always say that like over and over and over again, because you're never going, time will catch up to you and pass you, you know, like there's people that are behind you that know nothing, that are hungry, and they're going to do everything they can to learn as much as they can so that they can surpass you. So it's like, you got to keep learning because there's people that are right behind you. And for me, it was like, I was also very fortunate because I'm not the typical antique dealer, like, you know, appearance wise and, you know, the way that I talk and things like that. So like a lot of times, you know, sometimes it works to your advantage and sometimes it works to your disadvantage because people will try and like swindle you. And I'll be like, oh, you think I don't know, but I know, you know? So it's like, it's a lot of like back and forth, but like my mom was super helpful in the beginning, but now it's like did compote. I had, you know, like it just the shapes and the sizes and like, you know, like this is a candy dish.
Yeah.
Right. Like they put candy in this thing. And I'm just like, you know, like you see it when you're a kid and then you really don't understand it until you get to a certain point. And it's like, for me, you know, a lot of people are like, you know, oh, it's just junk and like it takes up space and it's old. And then, but like one of my biggest things was trying to be able to convince a younger generation about the importance of antiques and vintage items. Okay. And since a lot of people are like, you know, it's easy to sell certain things to certain demographics, right? There's one thing about me is I don't necessarily like easy. I like a good challenge. You know, I have to challenge myself. And so for me, it was like, I take the things that I do know and figure out how to twist and apply them into new things. So like with antiques, it's like with kids right now, think about it like this. They want to have the exclusive, right? They want to be the first, or they want to be, you know, what's trendy and like, you know, different, but at the same time they're not really being different because they're all being the same, right? But like with antiques and certain vintage items, you have the same ability to target that mindset because these things aren't being made anymore, you know? So it's like a lot of times you have a one of a kind piece, you know, like maybe there's 100 made or maybe there's only 100 left of this item, you know, things like that. So it's like, I feel like that the younger generation can kind of relate to that sort of mindset. And the other thing is that like, you know, somebody's always going to tell you no, right? But sometimes you have to just get past that no and be like, okay, you know, like sometimes, you know, it's easy to go. It's funny, we were talking about IKEA last night, right? It's easy to go like to like an IKEA or something like that, right? And buy a bowl and put it on your table. But like, what if you had a bowl on your table that was like nothing anybody else had ever seen, right? And what if I told you can get that bowl for maybe like a little bit more money than what you're paying for a regular bowl? And it's like, you know, like now you're kind of like making them think about it. They're like, yeah, that is kind of cool. Maybe I will get this bowl and be different and like show people something that they've never seen before. So it's just like being able to try and explain to people like things aren't made the way they used to be made.
And also I'll add this as well. So a lot of these pieces, I personally saw value in what I thought was beautiful. And the other half, I was just like, this is junk. Why do we have this? But the point was that it was a conversation piece. It was an art piece. It was something that had a story behind it, and it had more value than a bowl you'd find in IKEA. I can say, oh, this is a 1920s candy bowl. It was made out of depression glass, and it's really cool. Like, it's a lot more convincing to explain to someone the year it was made, the purpose it was made, and how many are left, and what makes it unique overall. So value is seen in a lot of these pieces rather than what you can find that's mass reproduced and put in an IKEA aisle. So
yeah, and then the other thing that's like super fascinating too is just that I totally forgot what I was going to say. It was super fascinating.
Oh gosh, sorry.
I was looking at somebody else's comment and I can't remember what I was going to say. No, but yeah, it's just you have to explain to people these things, and that was one of the now I remember what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Okay, so over the years was like that was originally where the name came from, because it was things that my mom had accumulated over the years, right? And then like I started to realize that everything that she had, she could tell me a story about it, right?
Yes.
She was like, oh my gosh, I got this at an auction and I was with your dad and there was the sugar and the creamer and I was with your, her friend Kathy, and there was she was like a German auctioneer and she kept saying the sugar and the creamer. And like, there was like, so like she had a story to it. She would tell me these stories and I was fascinated by that. And then I started to realize that as I was selling to people would come back and, after they were in their reviews, like that's a little thing that's also a little bit different about Etsy and eBay. Like Etsy, you don't really have the same sort of like shadow. Like I feel like sometimes on eBay, especially for people who are new sellers on eBay, you're like you owe a drug dealer money. Like you're always looking over your shoulder with eBay because you don't know what's going to happen.
Because they can turn on you essentially to say like, oh, I received this item and it looks kind of cracked. Did you package it well? I didn't like how it looked versus what was presented to me on the website. And so based on the review, it'll come back to you and it either has a good effect or a bad one. Whereas people would say, oh, this reseller is no good.
Yeah. And like on Etsy, like you just that rarely ever happens
like at all.
And
it's
I mean, like
very rare.
We've made almost 2,000 sales on Etsy.
And mind you, a lot of these individuals come back with the nicest reviews and feedback. They'll say, my grandmother had this dish and it's so nostalgic. We lost it either in a fire or in a sale. And I'm just so happy that I was able to come across this item because it means so much to me. It brings back all the memories. And it's like hearing that, it gives you the best feeling in the world that you were able to provide happiness to someone because it gave them a memory.
Yeah. And like that is one of the like most rewarding things. Like we recently had this guy, he bought, it's a glass humidor cigar jar, right? And he lost his grandfather had one and he lost it in an earthquake. It broke in an earthquake, and like he's been searching for the same one for years, and like he finally came across it and was like ecstatic about it. And then I sent it to them and they like took a picture of it with the other pieces that was his grandfather's and like thanked us and was like, you don't understand like what this means to me. And like so like for me it's like I'm able to make a living off of making other people's like these memories come back and stuff like that. Like you can't make that stuff up. Like that's like priceless, so like to me it's just like through all the tough times you got to remember the things like that. And it's like, and that's the other thing too, when it comes to YouTube and reselling and knowledge, it's like, why would I ever charge anybody money to learn what I know? Like, that's like robbing the world of knowledge. Like I like if something's not available to everybody at the same cost, then like it's not groundbreaking. Like I remember reading a quote once that said nothing is innovative or groundbreaking if it's not available to everybody or the poor especially. So it's just like things like that always resonate with me. And it's just like I want to I feel like you can make money, you can make a living if you do things the right way and give back at the same time. Like you don't always gotta be like I'm always trying to think of new things, like that's you gotta keep trying. Like my man Thrift B CQ Chris, he told me, he was like, look, you guys need to make over the years black lights. So like I'm working on that, like, and I think that's cool, like, because if I can get people excited about, going out there and get the
finding their own treasure,
like that's amazing.
That's it. Right. I just want to say something here. Thanks very much, Tracy, for doing that. Appreciate it. You always get one or two do that. Thanks very much. There's something from Tommy there.
Yeah. So look, so Jesse and I are gonna. No, I'm just playing. No Patreon. Although I'm gonna make T-shirts that say my Patreon is free, so you guys can buy those shirts if you want.
Oh, sounds great. So what I'm going to do, everybody, now is I'm going to bring up eBay, and we'll search eBay for vintage glass. And if you have any questions for Tim and Josie, please work away. Okay. So I'm going to share screen, and we'll bring up eBay, and we'll go to Chrome tab. Go to eBay this way. Right, so everybody, everybody can see that all right? Everybody see that all right? Yeah?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Yep. So we'll type in vintage Pyrex glass. That would normally you'd put into your listing, Tim?
Yeah, I'll have a couple of pieces of Pyrex listed on eBay, but I always put vintage because they do make new eBay.
Vintage Pyrex. Okay, so that's just what's listed at the minute, everybody, on eBay with Pyrex. There's a vintage retro Pyrex Chelsea round lidded casserole dish, 1967 Kitchenalia, £4 buy it now, or with £3.10 postage. Now this is ebay.co.uk, okay, but when I bring up the sold listings, there is a lot of sold listings from the United States.
So you want to know something that's really interesting though? So in the UK, they have different pieces of Pyrex than they do in America. So you see the JAJ, that's a English made Pyrex. So they didn't release this in America. They only released it in the UK.
All right. Yes.
So like if I found that in America, oh man, I'd be going crazy.
Is that a big seller over in the States then?
Yeah. Especially when you find them. I mean, and see, like this person right here, if they would have watched my how to clean a Pyrex video, they probably could get more money for that dish because they just left the grease all around it too. Yeah, and Tracy's right. Australia has their own designs as well.
Oh, see that? Yeah, you can even see in the corners there.
Yeah.
And even there on the side.
That's so disturbing to me.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like sometimes I leave a little bit in there. Like if it's just like a pain in the ass.
It is way too hard to get it out. Okay,
but that's a lot.
Substantial.
Yeah, I feel like we should message that person and tell them to watch my video on YouTube.
Oh my goodness, I know. Yeah, I see what you mean. There's all different types here and stuff. That's very interesting to see. Yeah. There's JAJ again, yeah.
Yes.
Bowls, mixing bowls.
So like they're ooh, what is that? There you go. Those are nice. Those the snowflake on the plates. I'm not, like that's something that like you just don't see. Yeah. Yes. I wonder if those are really Pyrex. See, like stuff like that where they don't show. I don't like if you're gonna list it, you gotta show me the Pyrex stamp. But I mean, it looks like it. Those are really nice.
Yeah, snowflake. Is it or is it star?
There's snowflakes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's nice.
I've got on auction. There's 14 minutes left. £4.50.
And then what is this right here? The gravy boat.
I don't think that person knows.
No, up top, the one above it, the green one.
Oh, this one here. Yep.
Yeah.
Vintage Pyrex 1950s retro gravy boat and saucer.
No way. Did they show you a stamp? I've never seen that before.
Let's see. I don't think so. Oh, there it is there. Yeah, there's something there, Tim, at the top.
What is
Pyrex
this?
stamp, is that?
Does that say Pyrex?
Pyrex, yeah.
Wow.
And there's actually a number at the bottom there. The bottom of the plate. 11630.
That is
That number?
super interesting. How much is that going for right now?
It's at the minute it's buy it now at $13.99, and let's see, yeah,
That's an
Yeah.
interesting piece right there.
it's very nice. Yeah,
See, look, we all learning something right now.
Yeah.
but that's good. But that's good. No, that's just one of the reasons why Tim and Josie want to start videos, I guess, because it's good to have people on and everybody gets to learn everything, something different at the same time. So yeah, it's good. I'm glad. I hope this is helpful to everybody because I'm finding it even interesting myself as well. So I hope this is helpful to everybody.
It's absolutely helpful. It gives you a different perspective. I mean,
It does, Josie, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does. Okay, everybody. Right. So we'll go to, let's see, this is going to be interesting now. Sold items. Now, there's a lot of sold items from the States, as you can see, as I was telling you all, but there's a vintage Pyrex accessories mini spoon, 1997, plastic made in USA, brand new. Now, that's pounds, so in dollars, it's going to be a bit more than that. So $13.95. And postage was $36.12. So it was, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing is like people who collect Pyrex, they'll buy anything that's Pyrex. It's just super interested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things, Tim, isn't it? You know, like you said, you've got a collectors for it. It's a specialized market. There's always going to be people that really want it, like collectors. There's some
Ooh, there's a nice one right there. The pink one. Yeah,
Yes.
so that's like one of the most popular
Gooseberry.
patterns.
Mhm.
And there's
No.
certain pieces in this pattern that will fetch a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a nice pattern on the side, isn't it?
Yeah, that's called pink. That's called gooseberry.
Is it?
And they also make it in a black and yellow color and a white and black color. But the pink color is the most highly sought after.
And there's the stamp at the bottom as well, Pyrex. So you're getting the real deal there. Because I know you were saying there, Tim, earlier, that there's a lot of reproductions and fakes out there. So I'm assuming then when it says the Pyrex stamp or a number on it, a model number, you've got the real thing then, I assume.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is too is it's like some people will try to pass off other companies that make the same sort of like style of dishes, like Glass Bake or things like that, and they'll list them as Pyrex. Obviously, a real Pyrex buyer will know that it's not Pyrex, but somebody who's still just starting out, they might not know. There you go. There goes the black and yellow gooseberry.
Where's that? Oh, down below.
Yeah.
Yep, that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's to see, so it is, because it's like anything. There's going to be some, like you said, are going to be worth value, and then there's going to be others that aren't, and then there's going to be others that are reproduction.
Yeah.
And like you were saying there, Josie, it's there's going to be times where you're going to come across glassware that's going to have a crack in it, and then you have to make your decision there and then. Am I going to buy it or whatnot? And then, like you said, Tim, as well, you just have to guess your comps on it.
Yeah, the dot ones right there,
Oh, nice.
the ones with the dots. Yeah, the yellow dots go up.
Oh,
there you
that
go.
one
The
there,
yellow dots, yeah.
Yes.
That's a really nice pattern to find. So it's 4 bowls, and each like they're nesting bowls, and each one has the dots, but in a different color. So it's yellow,
It's all primary.
blue, green, and red.
There's the
Okay.
Pyrex part.
All right, so Tim, Glock 30 fan, wants to know the Holy Grail Pyrex color, pattern, and style. The Holy Grail of Pyrex is called Pyrex Lucky and Love.
It has parts on it.
It has sold for the most I've seen it sell for has been $9,000.
Oh my goodness.
But they also sell in like the $4,000 to $5,000 range. But yeah, that's the Holy Grail. It's called Lucky in Love. But be aware, there is a Pyrex remade the Lucky in Love in newer versions. But the one old version of Lucky in Love is the Holy Grail of Pyrex.
That's unbelievable, isn't it? It just shows you, like you said, if you get that item, you've got it made.
Oh, I dream about it. I'm like, I'm gonna go to the thrift store tomorrow, and I'm gonna find Lucky in Love.
Yeah, and I'm keeping it.
So look, if you go up real quick, go back up again, up a little bit more, up a little bit more. All right, right there, above the pink plates. Click on that.
That one.
Yes.
So these are Pyrex has remade an older pattern in new bowls. So like this stuff right here, I would never pick up just because it's not my cup of tea. But you can see the difference in the marking on the bottom.
See that? Mhm.
Yeah. So like those are newer Pyrex bowls. But
why? I mean, why would they call it vintage?
Because they're crazy. I mean, yeah, those are not vintage.
They're not. So
well, they might be.
No.
It's 2020. 20 years ago? I don't think so. No.
It's newer than that.
It might be. But yeah, they're new Pyrex. They're
New
not
Pyrex.
like, yeah. But you can tell just because the pattern looks different than the original butter print pattern, and the marking on the bottom is completely different.
Different. Yeah. See that? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Completely different. Okay, be very right. Well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Do that. And go back to there. And I think that's it away. Yep. Okay, well, that's going to be everything, everybody. So does anybody have any questions for Tim and Josie? See if I missed anybody in the chat here. Hello, Elizabeth. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate it. I hope you're well. And anybody else? Is anybody else got any questions? Michelle says, does that come in avocado green?
Which one?
Yeah, there are some avocado green Pyrex bowls for sure.
Right. Alan says, maybe I should buy them and ship them over to you, Tim.
Oh, that'd be a great idea.
Anybody else? Kelly says, that background burner took out half the
Look, I
bowl.
was going to say something, but I didn't want... I'm glad somebody else noticed that. I was about ready to be like, man, they got really crazy with that Bazaar. It took out half of the bowl.
There's Tim. Tim's saying, Tim and Josie, what is the Holy Grail Pyrex color, pattern, and style?
That's the Lucky in Love.
And there's Drew from Australia. Hi, Drew. Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, guys.
Fred Chapman is saying, wow, 9,000. Yeah. If you get the right piece, Fred, like Tim and Josie are saying, yeah, you've got it made.
And there's definitely a lot of pieces out there that are on the same level as far as the Grail, but like not like the Holy Grail.
Holy Grail, yeah.
Like maybe like the mini Holy Grail that will get you a couple $100, you know. But I mean, for me, if I find a piece that brings me $50, $40, $30, I'm good, you know, because a lot of times it's tough to find these bowls not damaged. Like, you know how many times I walk into a thrift store and I see it from a mile away? I'm like, oh my God. And then I get close to it and I pick it up and it's just destroyed.
It's cringing just to see how people, you know, they don't realize that you can't put it in dishwashers, and you'll see like the paint and all the designs just melted.
See you go. And there's Tracy saying, but one day people will want those as well. Yeah.
That's true.
That's a good point.
But that's whether you're willing to sit on it. I'm not a patient person.
Yeah, I know that.
Quick turn and burn. It's called the quick flip.
Yeah.
Burn and turn.
Burn and turn. Yes. And there's Lisa saying, I would be afraid to pick it up, might drop it, and just die right then and there.
I'm with you.
Look, I'm telling you. So when I say I dream about it, I'm not like just saying that. Like, I mean, I'm like, I think to myself, like I have planned it out in my head of how I would proceed if I found it in the thrift store.
And he
like,
wouldn't hand it to me.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't even look at anything else. I probably would just leave my cart where it is, pick the bowl up, hold it like a football, and then lightly jog to the register like this.
Maybe not jog.
I don't even think I would let them touch it. I would just hold it, let them scan it. You know, I just put the money on the counter. You can keep the change. I run to my car and usually I got clothes and stuff in my car. I'd wrap it up in all the clothes and then I drive home and I take a picture of it and then I'll put it in like my mom's china cabinet so I ain't got to worry about nothing happening to it.
I can just imagine you doing that, Tim, anyway.
I can imagine me doing it too.
Oh, yeah.
There's Michelle Latham is saying, is there any value in Pyrex plates from chain restaurants?
Yeah, there is. So like what's the one? I sold some Pyrex mugs from Bonanza Steakhouse.
Okay.
So yeah, because with that you get these double collectors, people who like vintage advertising, people who like restaurant wear, and people who like Pyrex.
But what about the plate?
Yeah, the plates. So they made them. There's probably like 5 or 6 different restaurants. So there'll be Pyrex or have a pattern, and then inside the pattern it'll have the name of the restaurant. I think that's what she's talking about.
Okay.
Okay, and Stephanie Egerton. Hi, Stephanie. Stephanie's asking, what about the Pyrex saucepan? It must have been something I was showing her on eBay.
Yeah, so I personally don't deal in any Pyrex that's not patterned Pyrex.
That's true.
Just because it's not, it doesn't like have the same appeal to collectors as those are. But I will tell you this though, a lot of people do buy older Pyrex, not just necessarily for collecting, but because of the durability and actually using it in their kitchen. Because like my mom will sometimes we go to the thrift store, she'll buy some of the other Pyrex to actually use in her kitchen just because it's well-made stuff.
Brand. There's Tim is saying, I think Waffle House uses Pyrex.
Really? I'm shocked.
Yeah. Michelle said the Ponderosa. Yes, those are the ones. I sold I don't know why I said Bonanza, but the Ponderosa makes the mugs. I sold those.
There's Tommy saying here something.
I saw that.
It was in the 70s for us.
Hopefully they catch it on a dash cam so I can, file the lawsuit.
Well, everybody, I think I'll wrap this up. Thank you all very much for being here. I really appreciate it. Make sure you all go over and sub to Tim and Josie's channel. I really appreciate it because they're really nice people. Ma Dukes is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Very knowledgeable lady to have. And I've put Tim and Josie's channel link in the description below those videos. So make sure you all give them all a subscribe. And let's get them up to 1,000 subscribers because they really deserve it. They really do. They give everybody tons of information about glass that probably not a lot of people knew about before, especially me. I didn't know anything about that. So it was really great information today. And thanks again to all the moderators that have been here as well. Really appreciate it. Seemed we had a bit of bother earlier, but that was soon sorted out. And I hope you all have a great day and stay safe, everybody, especially where the world is at the minute. All right. So thanks very much, everybody. I'll see you all again. Have a great day. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, David.
Okay, bye, Tim and Toshi. Thanks.